once again, prices are going up.
But why do things always get more expensive?
That's what we call inflation.
Kid, this isn't the first time money's been messed up. Rome debased their silver coins, mixing in cheap metals. Prices soared. The empire weakened. Then kings clipped coins, diluted gold, called it the same. People paid the price. France tried paper in the 18th century. Printed too much. Inflation wiped out fortunes overnight. Weimar Germany. Wheelbarrows of cash for bread. Then, 71, Nixon cut gold from the dollar. For the first time, money was backed by nothing. Every age, rulers debase the currency. Every time, people suffer. Money loses value. It can always print more. But now, for the first time, there's money no one can debase. Bitcoin. Its supply is fixed at 21 million. That's mainly why it can't be inflated away.
So, Bitcoin is different.
You know, kid, history of money doesn't have to repeat. So you can have better money than we did.
That actually wasn't the video I was supposed to play. I had the ostrich video, I guess. So that was initially was like what I was preparing. And then late last night, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to switch this because we all know about the we got to shed some light on this ostrich farm holocaust that's going on. And I had this whole bird thing, but I guess when I label it, it was like 092525 dot master one. I'm like, oh no, I should have put ostrich on it, but I put master, and it was like the old one. Anyway, long story short, I guess the takeaway from that video, beyond everything we kind of know, well, like anyone on this channel knows about, we just lost 111. Good morning. We all kind of know about money debasement. That's why we're in Bitcoin. But that was all AI. I can't remember the company. It says on the right that made that. And my sister was saying that her niece, who's an actress, is like, she wants to get into film. And I'm like, you know, old Uncle Crazy Matt is with poo-pooing on every idea. I'm like, you know, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be actresses or like movie productions the way they were when we were growing up. Winnipeg was kind of the Hollywood of the North, they called it, because they would shoot so many movies up here because we would basically undercut the motion picture industry. So if you were making a movie for $10 million, you could come to Winnipeg and make it for like $3 million. Right. So that's why there was always movies made in Winnipeg. And so there was this big community of movie workers. There still is. But it's the humble opinion of this piano that within 5 years, we will see that tiny video at the beginning, which was all AI, move into the limits of your imagination. So any person, myself, you know, my brother-in-law, who's also, you know, interested in movie, has ideas for scripts. You know, he's a teacher or a vice principal, so he'll never do it while he has that job. But in 5 years, he'll be able to, you know, just like enter. And then switch. I want it to look like Wes Anderson. Click. Take down Wes Anderson 10%. Add a Martin Scorsese lighting. Click. It'll just be like that. And we'll all just, you know, be little Martin Scorseses, you know. And it will come back to the story. But then this is where it gets kind of weird. Left to our own device, there's not too many pillars of creativity when it comes to writing. That's what made certain people stand out. He was the best writer. He was more creative than that person. But with AI, you'll just be able to refine your story. you know, and you'd be like, I had a character arc, like Goodfellas. Click. It's my knee jerk is Goodfellas. Make the lead actress a little more attractive, more like Marilyn Monroe, 1960s. Click, boom, and it'll all be like that. Now, will it be great? I don't know, but it'll be interesting. I mean, I'll enjoy it because I've always liked to make videos since I was a little boy. Right? We had this. My dad, for some reason, brought home this VHS camera that I swear to God, now maybe it's not that big, but I was small. So when I was Duke's age, he brought it. So I was 10, and it was a massive camera, and you had to have a battery pack that was like super heavy connected to it. And it only lasted about, 10 minutes. Then you had to recharge it for 2 hours or whatever. And anyway, I would make movies with my friends. They were all fight movies. So I'd set up the camera on a tripod and we would punch each other. And then if someone punched me, you'd go, and it looked real. It looked like one of those Chinese movies that you saw back then. And everything was called Fistful of Yen, Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6. And then it moved into weirder stuff because that's how humans just always gravitate to more weird, right? It never gets less weird. We push the envelope, and from there, I would go to it was like actually early Jackass. I had this garage, and I would get my friends to sit on the garage, and I was the talk show host, and I would ask them questions, random questions. I don't even know where these questions came from, and if they got them wrong, as far as I was concerned, they had to jump from the garage. And they didn't really walk it through, so they would hum and haw. There was an honest fear because they didn't think that jumping from the garage. Anyway, yeah, and of course breakdancing video. Now this is the funny thing because this is about the birds, right? And here I am talking about my goddamn home movies. Maybe I'll look for them. We'd see some like pianomattyb breakdancing when he's 10 years old. He's Duke's age. So now we've hit the moment, from father and son, where it's like Duke's now at an age where I remember I was doing things, right? So it's a good measurement scale as to what he's doing, what he's not doing. He's 100 times better piano player than I was, that's for sure. He'll also be opening up this Friday at the piano bar. But I do have some. The problem was when I was looking for the bird stuff, I couldn't get any updates, so that got me scared, because, when there's no updates, it means they've taken the cameras down. So we're just going to go over a couple of these. This is kind of from latest to earliest.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Evidently, I guess.
Can you hear that audio? Wait a second, you can't see it. Let me know if you can hear the audio. That little thing I just did. Okay, so I will start it again. It's dark, but this happened this night.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Evidently, I guess that night you moved porta potties to around a family that's already been terrorized enough, have been arrested 2 days ago, lied to, and baited in a corner, and evidently it's okay to at 2:30, 3 o'clock, bring in semis down a highway, drones with spotlights, and drop off porta potties. You've heard it here if it's not true. We'll just, yeah.
So that was last night. They dropped off porta potties. Now, what they were doing yesterday was they were building these hay walls, right? Which I think is just to avoid any visibility of the thing, of the where the ostriches are. But I mean, when you go down the dark road, it'd be pretty easy to start that hay on fire. And you have to understand, Tim, or you don't. This is just me talking. All these things are rituals for, from Charlie Kirk's public assassination to, let's say, they burn these ostriches. Like, you got to understand, these ostriches, some of them are 35 years old. It's imagine your pet, your dog, your cat is 35 years old, still life in it too. It's not like it's an old, like it's older, and then somebody wants to murder them. And so my fear is that they're going to do a Holocaust, because the Holocaust is a ritual burnt offering. I mean, we've been indoctrinated to think it's only one thing, but it's actually it's Greek for, I think, Holocaustin or something like that. But it means burnt offering, and it's a ritual. It's a sacrifice, right? So we are distanced from all this ritual symbolism because we're just normies. We're dozers from Fraggle Rock, going to work, building the towers, and the towers broke down, rebuild it, and we're kept in the dark about how all these things work. And as things move forward, the one thing I remember, the one thing I know about music, which is undeniable, and then it extrapolates out, is that it's all numbers. Music is all numbers. So to most people, music is magic, and that's it, right? Music is magic. I just enjoy it. I just love it. I love this song. I love that song. It's just magic to people, but it is numbers. And the reason why certain songs resonate more than others is that it repeats the same number formula as others. For instance, I've used this before, but Don't Stop Believing is 1, 5, minor 6th, 4th. In that number sequence is almost like a hypnotic cycle, because it has resolution. That makes sense. The number, it makes sense at 1 to 5. This asks the question. This answers the question, and then this resolves. So these number sequences are why we respond to certain songs. And if you were to corral all your favorite songs, most of them do that number sequence, the 1, 5, 6, 4, right? And then you can reverse it. You can start in A minor, 4, C, 1, and then G's the resolution. This is the opposite of Don't Stop Believing. And it has equal amount of hit songs from that anyway. Let's continue. So the reason why I bring the numbers up is that all these things, the dates, dates of these sacrifices. So we'll know that this is more than just some sort of bunch of humans battling over, well, it's just my job, and the CFIA or whatever that has told me to call these birds because they're deadly. We'll know that the bigger thing is the Holocaust and the ritual and the sacrifice going over it. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I think what happened is now that the Indians have come in and claimed it their land, which raises some interesting, freedom questions. Like these white farmers, it's their land, but yet they had no control over what the government wanted to do. And then there's agreement between the Aboriginals and the Canadian government that supersedes what we would call common law, right? In this case, it's kind of worked in its favor, that someone stepped in, the Aboriginals stepped in and said, this is our land, cease and desist. Here's what's going on.
Again, this puts us, we have video footage of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency with broom handles and knives on the end, cutting our wires on our camera that are not impeding anything. They're destroying potential evidence. They're destroying our property. And they're not doing, those cameras were not in the way. They're not doing anything. So what are they hiding? And that's what are they doing behind closed doors that are in our pens?
And they're actually destroying the cameras. They're not removing them.
Actually, they've taped over a bunch of them. They didn't. Some of them
Well,
they did,
we've
but
seen
some
them
of them they
cutting
taped.
with
Send me any of those videos. Can you guys please email me any of those videos?
Totally normal for police to go into a farm, find all the cameras, because they actually have a live stream. It's called Canadian Ostrich Farm. I have it wrong. I should have got that one. E-money, do you have to get a warrant in Canadistan? Apparently not. It's totally normal for them to go and take away all, not only take the cameras, but destroy them when they get them, not put them in anyway. It's unbelievable what's happening. So this is also like, to me, these are all tests as well, right? And like I said, this for the past couple of weeks, Canada's a tough nut to crack for revolution because it's so vast. So for people to go help, it's like Manitoba's got to take a 6-hour flight, to BC to help this, and it's just probably not going to happen. But luckily, the Aboriginals came in and declared it their land, and which was also like a catch-22 to the farmers, because they're like, "Thank you, but I thought it was our land." Like, well, no, it's actually our land. Whose land is it? It's a good question. Whose land is it? Take a look. Let's take a look at this one.
CFI agents that were just on.
So the CFIA, Canadian, what was it? Canadian Farmland Inspection Agency, CFIA. Let's just keep going.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, a couple things I wanted you to know. People were asking about the CFI agents that were just caught on film cutting down the cameras. Yeah, they're doing that. You wonder what they're hiding from. Maybe the fact that they didn't feed the ostriches in the front pen yesterday. Maybe the fact that they used 9 buckets of food instead of 26. Maybe they're using a different formula. All of these things are valid questions to be asking, folks, and we've got our eyes on it. Now, I'm going to put this video out, and I fully expect that this won't last very long, if it's even up now. There are cameras in the pens. They're obviously looking for them, taking them down. But if you can go to YouTube and look for the Universal Ostrich Farms channel, there was live feeds up, okay? And what I want to do is I want to keep eyes on the CFI agents who don't really understand what PPE is because they weren't wearing it proper, it wasn't the right stuff, and don't know much about ostrich behavior because when the guy came by in the white suit, the ostrich is taken off. Now, I know when the food's around, they don't take off. They slowly kind of run in behind the truck. They don't run away. We saw that happen today because they're freaked out, man. This is not their owner. This is some new people who stay in the truck because they're too afraid of the ostriches. Oh, God. Come on now, folks. So anyway, go to that channel and see if it's still up and let me know if it is. Share with other people. If it isn't, well, that's okay. We'll come up with other plans. We're going to make sure we've got eyes on these guys and we know exactly what they're doing or not doing. It seems to me that their Animal Health Act, they like to enforce certain policies like stamping out, but other policies like not letting your birds starve doesn't seem to be an issue for them. So, and not wearing the proper equipment. Ostensibly, knowing that the farmers have been in there for 9 months, haven't got sick. It's weird, man. So yeah, keep an eye on the cameras. We'll see what happens. And thank you for keeping your eye on my camera.
So now, what you also have to understand in Canadistan right now is that there's up to 50 RCMP officers at this farm. Meanwhile, there is like an Amber Alert for a missing young child. So someone's made a decision to route 50 RCMPs to this ostrich farm instead of allotting them, putting the manpower on this missing young boy. It's unbelievable. That's why I wrote on my Twitter, I said, Canada needs help. And I added, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. It's the one beauty. It's really we are drowning in tyranny to a certain degree. We just don't feel it. It's slowly rising up. You know, for us in Canadistan, for me anyway, most people are literally ostriches with their head in the sand in Canada. But if you're awake, you can feel the water rising. And then when you talk about it, you realize no one has any idea. They're like, what water? This is the same water as I grew up in. Nothing's changed as it gets higher and higher and higher. They just don't see it, and they won't until it's way too late. But with social media, with Twitter, with X, imagine if X wasn't around. Imagine if X was still woke, like Blue Sky or whatever the hell that is, and you couldn't post anything. Like you could, like I wasn't even on X back in that day because it was just so stupid. Why would I be on something that's so hard? That's why I'm not on Facebook. Like, why would I be on something that's so hardcore censored? Now, I am on YouTube, but you know, most of us on YouTube hate YouTube, right? The fact that they can pick out a word from my stream right now, demonetize it, and put the brakes on it. But at the same time, it can't stop 100 robots from going into the comment sections and shilling some stupid coin that doesn't exist, right? Like the priorities of what these platforms are just so not skewed with the truth, the objective truth of what's right and what's wrong. You know, they don't mind if everyone gets completely bamboozled by robot scams, but you know, you say one word. So believe me, I have my hatred towards YouTube. It's a necessary evil, and like I said before, like we are one technology away from a lot of changes. So the one technology from YouTube, like let's say. Now, I don't know anything about tech, right? But what if, you know, some real smart coder, AI, were to invent essentially the same platform that allowed to port over subscribers? I mean, it sounds like, oh, you can't, wow, how could you do that? I don't know. I also don't know how they made that AI video at the start of this. Like, I don't know these things. But somebody does, you know, and then I think it'll move to a decentralized blockchain because the people are going to be like, and they'll never come back. Like once social media goes full REIT, decentralization, no censorship, no one will go back. Yeah, there'll be blue-haired septum rings lesbians on Blue Sky. There'll always be that type of person. Right. And that's fine. They can have it. They can fill their boots on Blue Sky. But the majority of people just, you know, want to exist freely. Yeah. Are there some horrible things on X? Yeah. You got to take your licks, though, with freedom. That's the thing. Freedom isn't easy. It's a constant battle. And you have to accept there's going to be things that you don't like. But at the same time, you don't like it. You just don't watch it. Simple as that. Let's see what else we got here. Anyway, what I was getting at was, if you go to my Twitter, I have all these feeds. Just go share them. Like go do blast like this. I'm a small channel, has no real reach, but the community is the soldiers of reach for any channel. Now there's big channels doing this. Viva Frey, I think I saved it here. Viva Frey is a Canadian. He's living in Florida now. He kind of got his start during COVID doing all the trucker convoy live streams. And then he just says, like, I'm out of here. Let's just, I'll just do the quick intro, see what.
Party peoples of the interwebs, something of an emergency broadcast, or at the very least, an immediate update on the Universal Ostrich Farm coming out of Edgewood, British Columbia. Without going into the details of the story, if you're not aware of what's going on, the 65,000 foot overview, because I'm not even going for a 30,000 foot overview. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency, that administrative body that ordered the culling of 400 ostriches because they were infected allegedly with H5N1 back in December of 2024. They said we have to kill even the ostriches that survived and that have now been healthy for damn near 10 months. The kill order that the CFIA issued, which was ratified by the Federal Court of Appeal in May, contested, ratified by the appellate court in August, 10 months after they were infected, give or take. They have moved in as of Sunday of this week. We are September 24th, as at the time of shooting this vlog. They moved in to kill the ostriches. They went up to Edgewood, British Columbia, to Universal Ostrich Farms, to kill these 398 remaining healthy, big, beautiful birds, some of whom are 35 years old, been in the family for 35 years, despite the fact that they've been healthy and out and about for 10 months now.
Chadwick, thank you for the super chat. Let me read it here. Ever hear about the allegory of the cave? That's your phone. Exit the cave. Go meet your neighbors. Go volunteer somewhere. It's so true. I always bring that up to my family because they are all in their own cave. They don't, and like I've brought it up so many times, and especially to the older people in my family because their cave is the Canadian Boomer Corporation that feeds them propaganda. It's almost criminal the way they're fed such bullshit. It's what it was like cruelty to boomers, you know, like because they're so easily manipulated through fear that you just put a little bit of fear into boomers and they're like, I'll do anything. Just tell me where to sign up. There's more boosters. Sign me up. I'll go on the waiting list. So they're easily manipulated and they can't get out. They can't get out. The cognitive dissonance that goes on through their heads is insanity. Yeah, I know it's not just boomers, Bruce, but I find them the hardest because I talk to a lot of them at the squash club. So at the squash club, it's all men, but a lot of the older, like in the day, obviously, when I'm there, there's a lot more retired old men. And so I end up chatting with them and they just have the playbook, like the propaganda news playbook. And it's mean on my point because I feel like I have an advantage because I just know more. So I will just ask them questions, you know, like whatever they say, I'll just a simple, oh, really? Like what? They don't know. He did this. What did he do? When did he do it? They don't know. He said this. When did he say that? They don't know. You know, it does this. Oh, how do you know it does that? They have no clue. They just regurgitate it. And fair enough. What are you going to do? You're not going to change everybody. Lasers go pew pew. I'm convinced all TV media is lying. Of course they're lying. Because in anything, the end reveals the truth and you follow the money. It's just those, if you just follow those things, you know, like for instance, if the government says it can change something if you give it money, that's your first red flag. Bing. You know, we're talking about the worst capital allocators in the history of humanity, but they're going to take your money and change something. Like that's your red flag. And once you understand that, you re-bubble yourself because now you're in a deeper bubble because you understand all news is lies and it's all propaganda. And then you think, has it always been propaganda? Yeah, it always has been. It's just gotten more attention from the new media, whatever that is. But I actually think the new media is getting hijacked too, or it's the bridge. You know, sometimes I give these psychopathic elected elites a little more credit, like they are smart enough for 5D chess. I don't know if anyone really is, but it is their business. They're social engineers, you know, like this family of F1 race car drivers. You know, my family, there's lots of musicians. Their family is all social engineers. So they know the tactics. They've been doing it for millennia. It's actually pretty easy for them. It's the same playbook. Look at this Charlie Kirk thing. Lone shooter. Case closed. Like, can you just come up with maybe a different movie? We've seen this movie time and time again. And yes, there are occasions where a lone shooter just shoots somebody, you know, but with these massive history changing events, they use that playbook. And, you know, not to spend too much time on Charlie Kirk, it's a hot topic. Some people just don't like it. The human experience, like in COVID, like in anything, when the dust settles and it's over, people are just happy it's over. They're like, listen, I was pretty angry and I was out for blood, but now that it's over, I just want to go, like, just, again, just leave me alone and I'll be fine. Bygones, right? We're human beings, generally, the majority just want to live in peace and get the hell on with their life. But resolution is needed. And so I've talked to devout Charlie Kirk fans, and they're just ready to accept the government narrative. Like, think about that. Not some fringe theory. The government narrative is good enough for them for closure, because they just want closure, right? That's why Murder, She Wrote lasted 3 decades. Angela Lansbury wrote that TV show for 30 years because humans love a problem, a mystery, and a resolution. And then they, have their warm milk and go to bed. We need it. That's how we function. That's how we sleep at night, is with the resolution. But I'm not really like that. I'll turn over every rock. I don't care. The one rock I'm not going to let live is the government goddamn narrative. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video.